Welcome to My Spoony Sisters, featuring stories from special guests dedicated to empowering those with chronic illness. Our goal? To connect people and provide the support and tools they need to live a better life. For those with chronic illness, our energy levels just fade faster. We must be more purposeful with the spoons allotted to us. So grab your coffee or tea, sister, and tune in as My Spoony Sisters share stories of living with chronic illness. Welcome to My Spoony Sisters. I'm your host, Jen, and today we have a truly inspiring guest with us. This is Alexa Sutherland, and Alexa is a Californian who was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis at just 15 months old and fibromyalgia at the age of 13. Her journey through chronic illness has been anything but easy, and she's tried nearly every medication and treatment plan available for RA. In her 20s, Alexa has taken on the important role of advocating not just for herself, but for others battling invisible disabilities. She uses her platform on social media to spread awareness, educate others, and inspire those who are fighting similar battles. Her mission is to make the world understand that hundreds of disabilities are invisible and that appearances can be deceiving when it comes to health. Alexa, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to dive into your story and learn more about you. Yes, it did. Did you hear it? I should know better to unplug it.
It's okay. I feel like people don't realize it until they actually say my name, and then,
Yeah. The one in my kitchen, we call her Echo, but the rest of them, yeah, I'm not going to say your name again. Sorry.
No worries.
So, hey, it's so good to see you again.
Good to see you. I missed you.
I missed you too. You're my little sister. So I'm going to say, My Spoony Sisters, what you don't know is we actually met each other a few months ago in person in Colorado. And I think, the group of us, we had all kinds of fun shenanigans that went on.
Did. Yeah, we had some fun nights and a lot of educational days. It was a great trip.
I think my favorite was just sitting down and shooting the breeze, having coffee.
Oh, yeah, that was great. And the dinner, we went and got really good Mexican food one night. That was really fun.
Mexican will always have my home. It'll be it's my favorite. I could have Mexican every day.
Mm-hmm. So,
do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so she said a lot of it, but
I know, right?
With rheumatoid arthritis since I was 15 months old. I've been born and raised in Southern California, a little bit outside of LA. And now I have a total of 4 chronic invisible illnesses. They kind of just stack up one after the other. Autoimmune diseases like to do that. But yeah, I'm really passionate about sharing my story and helping people along the way. And I've been able to connect with a lot of great people online or in person. So, it's obviously such a bummer to live with these things, but I do truly believe that they have shaped me into the person I am. And, I won't say I wouldn't trade it for the world, because I definitely would, but I'm thankful for the opportunities it's brought me and, the people I've met along the way. So happy to be here today.
And isn't that a kind of a funny thing? Because we always say, a lot of us say that we wouldn't change it, but we would. It is truly because our lives are incredible because of it. In a way, we don't. In a way, we love everything that is brought to us and all the people. We don't like the ickiness of it all.
Totally. Yeah. Definitely highs and lows, and the lows are really low, but at least it balances out with, the giving back and meeting other people and getting to travel. Like, we got to travel and meet each other. That was awesome. So
before we dive into any of that, so we brought up the fact that you were diagnosed early on with rheumatoid as a child, infant really, and then fibromyalgia. So what have you been diagnosed with since then?
Yeah, so when I was then 22, I was having a lot of back pain, and after some x-rays and MRIs and everything. They said I had ankylosing spondylitis. I never know if I'm saying that just quite right, but it's essentially arthritis of the spine, and overall, over time, your spine can fuse together. And it's not I don't have it's not very severe, but it definitely causes me a lot of discomfort. And then about 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, which is a thyroid disorder. So that was the first diagnosis that was completely not anything like I was familiar with. Fibromyalgia kind of goes hand in hand with RA. AS kind of goes hand in hand with arthritis, so that kind of all made sense. But the thyroid disorder diagnosis was like, it took a lot of education and researching, and like it was a whole new ball game, that one. So yes, those are all four.
Do you feel like that one really threw you for a loop?
That one really did it to me. Yeah, like that was a couple years after the AS diagnosis, and so I feel like I was kind of just starting to get a hold on that, and like on medications that was helping that. And then this whole new thing was just like the icing on the cake for me, and I didn't take it very well. It was really hard for me to stomach, and having to like get a whole new line of doctors because it had nothing to do with rheumatology or pain. And so it was a lot. And I always thought that being a child with chronic illness and arthritis was the hardest part. And I was like, well, now I know everything there is to know. I've been on all the medications, like nothing really scares me anymore because it's familiar. But this was scary, and just like it felt like, gosh, what else could possibly get thrown my way? I'm like 24 and I have 4 diagnoses. Like, what is 44 gonna look like, So it was tough. I think I'm in a much better place now, but at the time I was like, I can't take another one.
As a person that's 44 years old, I can tell you it's going to look a little like this.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
But it's not a bad thing. I think, when I was your age, I definitely thought, my gosh, what else could go wrong?
Mm-hmm.
What else is going to happen to me? And by the time I was 30, having kids in middle school and having RA, I thought my life was over.
Yeah. Gosh.
But you are going to have a beautiful life.
Thank
You absolutely are. I mean, you already do.
I do. Yes, it's been hard at times, but I'm also things could be so much worse, and I could be in a lot more pain than I am, and I'm thankful that I have access to the medicines I do and doctors that I like. So, I try to stay as positive as possible.
Absolutely. So you've tried a wide range of medications and treatment plans. Can you talk about some of the challenges that you've faced in finding the right treatments that worked best for you?
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, the options were far, far, far more limited than they are now. I mean, even I think when I was first diagnosed, the treatment was like naproxen, and Motrin, children's Motrin. And it wasn't until I was a little bit older that I started taking methotrexate. And then, yeah, for me personally, my problem is that my body will get immune to medications after sometimes 2 years, sometimes 10. I think the longest drug I was on was for 10 years. That was Xeljanz. But it was getting to a point where there were no medications left, really. Like, I was going to have to recycle one that had already failed me. And now, I'm not exactly in that place now, but still, like, I've truly been on pretty much any medicine you see a commercial for on TV. I've probably tried it. So, finding the right one that works, A, for the pain, but then B, you can manage the side effects, or, some make you nauseous, or, so it's finding the right balance can be hard. But thankfully, we've had so much medical improvements, and new medicines are always on the horizon. So I don't feel as desperate as I once was of like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do next? Because I've tried them all.
So going to an event like the one we did in Denver and getting to hear what all of these researchers and rheumatologists have to say, did that give you encouragement for what the future looks like for, your options in medications and treatments?
Definitely. I think it's always told to you like, oh, there's always new medications on the horizon, or something's always around the corner, but to actually see it and hear it firsthand from the doctors that are doing the research, and not just, your doctor in your office, but seeing it and seeing the graphs and the charts and hearing their research. And I think that was really good for me, just to know that there is so much being done that we don't even realize, and yeah, I think that gave me hope and reassurance that, there even could, a cure could be around the corner, not just a new medication, but something that could really change the game in the near future. It seems very possible.
Absolutely. And I think, seeing their positivity and their excitement for what they're working on, granted, I think more than half of it went over our heads.
Probably more than 3/4, yeah.
But it was fun to see just the excitement on all of our faces as we're hearing these things and going, okay, this makes sense. Okay, what did they just say? Okay.
Yeah, and trying to decode it on our laptops. Yeah.
Yeah, and trying to write it down and make it make sense to talk to other people about later. And I walked away looking at my notes and I was like, I have no idea what I was talking about.
Different language, right?
I think I wrote something down about monocytes, and I don't even remember what else. And I went home and I was like, what?
Yeah, so many people were like, what did you learn? I'm like, I wish I could tell you, because it was like a different language, some of it.
So I haven't officially announced this yet, but I am going to tell you that I am planning to be there in DC in November.
Amazing. Yes.
Yes. And so I'm super excited, but so nervous. I think they said there's going to be roughly 15,000 rheumatologists, if I read that correctly, unless there was a typo, but I think that's what it said.
Wow. With the same foundation you're going?
So yes. Yes. I was invited to speak.
That's incredible. That's amazing.
I think I have to take everyone with me, because I don't know if I can do this without you guys, but we'll see. We'll see. It's not set in stone yet. I was invited. I said yes. That's as far as it's gotten so far. And I'm terrified.
I went to DC when I was 11 to do something similar. I don't remember. Basically, I went to talk to senators to get more medications FDA approved in children. So they were trying to get a lot of children to go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I don't remember much of it because I was so little, but...
Was it terrifying?
No, because I don't think I really realized the magnitude of what I was doing. And, they, instead of just having people write in, it's no, it's more powerful to see the kids that need the medication and hear their stories. So at the time, I was just oh, I'm just talking about my life. And now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did that so young. And I wish I was a little bit older to remember it. But this is going to be something you remember forever. And especially, getting to speak, that's going to be so cool. I can't wait to hear about it.
If I don't chicken out.
You won't. You won't. Also, you know your story so well. It's not
oh my gosh,
to present something it's you. So you're gonna do good.
I hope that's what they're asking. I mean, I could talk about my story all you want. If you're asking me to talk about something else, I might freeze.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I would love to see everyone there. That would be awesome. I do know a few people that might be there. I don't know if you are familiar with Eileen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's going to be there. She's a speaker. I can't wait to hear her. I've been dying for this kind of stuff. So
this is great. Well, it's right around it feels right around the corner. I feel like time is going so quickly, but this is great. This is awesome.
I know. Well, and I think now that we've met our little group of people, I'm kind of like, can I drag you guys everywhere? Can you be at everything I ever go to in the future?
Yeah, just be a little team.
Our little tribe. So, okay. Is it hard for you to remember your early experiences with your health?
I mean, I don't remember obviously being diagnosed at all because I was just a baby. My mom kept a pretty detailed medical journal though when I was diagnosed in early ages. So, going back and referring to it is just interesting, just because I don't remember a single thing of it. feel like my earliest, they would crush up my methotrexate and put it in applesauce, and I hated it. I hated it, and it was every Sunday, and I hated Sundays because I didn't want to eat it. And then I got old enough, and I would actually take the pills, or then I would actually take the injection. But those were like, I think, my earliest memories of having to take medicine or having pain and just hating applesauce. To this day, I won't eat it. I won't eat it. But yeah, I think like I remember some instances in elementary school and middle school, and just like being different and having accommodations and kids not understanding. I think that was like the biggest challenge, is just like feeling different than my peers. And then it's funny, I feel like I blocked out a lot of the times I was really unhealthy, like the pain. I really don't remember the really, really hard times, because I think my body just doesn't want me to. My biggest flare up I've ever had was when I was a freshman in high school. I remember that because I was obviously a lot older. But yeah, when the times I was younger, I don't remember as much, honestly.
That's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And I would think, being diagnosed so young, you probably don't know anything different. I mean, this is your life.
No, I really don't. And I really never even went into remission either. I think my doctors at the time were pretty sure I was going to grow out of it, because a lot of times pediatric cases do. And I did not, which is, unfortunate, but like you said, I don't know anything different. So, I honestly, yeah, I think it would be harder to, be diagnosed when you're 12 or something. You're like, what do you mean? Like, I've had 12 years of health and nothing was in pain, or I didn't have to do anything different, and now all of a sudden everything's changed. So, yeah, not that I mean, more unfortunate for my family that had to advocate for me and, figure that all out when I was of such a young age. But yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't know any different. So it's just a part of me.
So I'm going to bounce all over the place, so don't mind me here. But what I want to dive into also is, you are an actress and you've done some fun things. Yeah. How has that worked, being in, with all these people relying on you? Are they pretty understanding? How does that go? Calling all Spoonies. As a host of a chronic illness podcast, nothing lights up my day more than hearing from you, our incredible listeners. Whether it's a topic close to your heart that you want us to uncover, or you are keen to show your own journey as a guest on our show, your voice matters. Living with chronic illness can often feel isolating, but through the power of podcasting, we can come together as a community to uplift, educate, and inspire one another. Your stories, insights, and questions drive the conversations we have and the topics we explore. So if there's something on your mind, a story that you are just itching to share, or a guest you'd love to hear from, don't hesitate to reach out. Your voice is not only welcomed here, but celebrated. Let's continue to amplify the voices of those living with chronic illnesses and create a space where everyone feels heard, supported, and empowered. Together, we are stronger.
I think the entertainment industry has changed a lot, even in my lifetime. When I was younger, we didn't tell anyone. We didn't tell my agents or managers, or we thought that hearing that I had arthritis would make them not want to give me the role, because they would worry about, well, what if she can't come to set today, or what if she's not feeling good, or especially as a kid, it's like, working with a kid is hard enough as it is, so let's not add anything more challenging on top of it. So we didn't tell anyone. It's almost like trendy to, be different or have something, or as awful as it sounds, it's awful and it's not, because it's so much more like accepted, and like you would never not get a role because you have these challenges, and if you did, oh my gosh, that would cause like an uproar. And so it's very different, and I'm obviously very vocal about it. And I've never thankfully been in a really bad time when I've been filming something. So it's not like I never needed special accommodations, or like, oh, I can't do this today. I also think you're on such a high when you're working that you don't realize the pain you're in or what you're doing until you wrap, and you're like, oh my God, I just did a night shoot and it was freezing, and I was, dancing or covered in blood. Like I've done, I don't know, I've done weird stuff, but it doesn't hit me until like the production is wrapped or you go home for the day, and then I'm in a lot of pain. But you're just so blessed to be doing it and excited that I've just always been able to push through. But that all being said, now I would feel way less stressed of going up to, someone and saying, hey, like, I'm really having a bad day. I can't do this, because it's so much more accepted now than it was when I was a kid. So it's cool to see that change and to see the acceptance, and like, it's not taboo. Like, people want to hear about it, and you want to share it. And I actually just saw Daisy Ridley a few weeks ago. She just came out that she got diagnosed with Graves' disease, and she's been struggling with it the past couple months or something. I didn't read the full article, but I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I feel like at one point that was not cool that she got Graves' disease, but like that she's so open about it. And I feel like that at one time would have been something that she would have just dealt with behind closed doors. And now she's like, people are talking about it. And I always like that. I like being able to look up to people that, I admire, and to see that they're dealing with something similar, makes it feel more like we're all human,
I think that's a really good point. And, we've watched people like Christina Applegate or Selena Gomez. I mean, we've watched all these people talk about their health journey, and people they look up to them. So it's like you're
Selena. If you could see that picture back there, that's Selena. She's
I
like
love it.
Such an inspiration. I know we talked about that, but I love
her. Well, you are going to be the face for RA for us.
I hope so.
And I'm gonna keep putting this plug in, but I want to see you on her TV show.
Oh gosh, me too. I've manifested, I want to work with her or for her or in some capacity. I just want to connect with her so badly. So I'm also putting it out there.
I love the group of them together, and I feel like adding you in there, that would be so much fun. I could just see it now. So yes.
Let's pitch it. I'm so down.
Come on, guys. We want Alexa on there. Please do it. I love that show. I can't wait for the next season.
So soon. I know.
Okay. Anyway, moving along. So social media has become a powerful tool for raising awareness, just like we were talking about. So how do you use your platform to spread awareness and educate others about invisible disabilities?
Great question. I think I use it so much as a patient or as a user, especially when I was diagnosed with Graves' disease. Like I said, that was such a what is this? That the first thing I did was I typed in the hashtag on TikTok. Like, I vividly remember typing it in, and I wanted to see other girls my age or other women my age who were dealing with it and what their experience was like, because it's just so, it's user friendly. I'm able to understand it. It's not in medical jargon. I just wanted to know what I was in for. And I felt I learned so much from them that I figured I want to do the same thing for other people. And obviously I'm way more educated in RA and fibromyalgia. So I'm not like, I don't do it every day. I don't even do it every week. But when something is really on my mind or affecting me, or I feel like someone else probably relates to it, I just either make a reel or a TikTok, or I'll do a whole story post about whatever is on my mind, or whatever I'm dealing with at the time. And it's crazy how many responses I get from it, because like I said, I don't do it every day. That's like, it's not like my my thing that I, want to talk about it every single day. But when I do, I always have people respond, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, I feel the same way, or they ask questions, or so it's such a great tool. And obviously there's good and bad sides to social media, but if you use it for the good and you just want to connect with people that are experiencing similar things, or you want to hear their stories, or maybe what their treatment plan is like, it's great. I love that we're able to use this tool for that reason.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great testament and encouragement to others of why they should be doing this. If you have a story to tell, get out there and share it, because somebody needs to hear it.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to know that they're not alone in whatever it is you're dealing with. So don't be afraid.
And there's so many just different stages of, like, I know whenever the time comes that I want to have kids, it's going to be a whole new ball game and learning experience. So I'm going to go back to TikTok or social media and type in, pregnancy and rheumatoid arthritis and hear other moms or pregnant women. And that's, it's kind of comforting. And it's like, that other people are out there living it rather than just hearing about it. It's like you're seeing it and you're in it with them. And like you could check in with them or how's it going? Oh, how are you feeling today? And I think that's what I really like about social media is just the accessibility to people all over the world, you know?
Definitely. Definitely. It's my favorite. And, I love going over and watching your TikToks and several others. I don't really make them as much as other people do. I'm probably more on Instagram than anything, but I love watching what the rest of you are putting out there.
Yeah.
And I think you had a good point. Whatever we are currently dealing with, that tends to be what we talk about the most. And so if you're having an RA flare, you're probably going to be talking about what's going on with that RA flare.
Right.
But, if it has something to do with something else, example, when I started losing hair, I started talking about alopecia more. And so that's what we do as creators, I guess you would say, is we share about what our struggles are, and
All
that
the ebbs
helps
and the
people.
flows. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally.
So my next question for you was, how do you respond to people who make assumptions about your health just based on how you look?
That's a good question because I'm kind of, I can be a little bit fiery, or I think my response has changed a lot over time. I think especially the hard thing for me is I look so young and so healthy, so it all kind of started with like using my handicap placard when I would start driving by myself and I'd put it up and I would just get death glares, or people would just come up to me and yell at me for how embarrassing it was that I'm using like my grandmother's, or I should be ashamed, or, demanding that I tell them what's wrong with me. When I was younger, I would freeze because I would just be so in shock that people would have the guts to confront a stranger in the way that they were, and using so much like hatred towards me. So I would freeze, and then as I got a little older and more confident, I would get kind of angry and I'd snap back. And now I'm at a point where I think those those remarks come from just miseducation and not knowing. And of course, it's so easy to get annoyed or irritated, but I really try to say like, oh, like, a lot of people suffer from things that you can't see, and I know I look fine and healthy to you, but you really should not assume that you know what my everyday is like, because you absolutely don't. And usually that, quiets them. And then if it's a friend that, maybe they don't say something rude, but they'll say something snarky, and then that just kind of opens a conversation of like, oh, I have rheumatoid arthritis. Oh, what is that? And then it's a learning moment for both of us, because like I said, I went from being like shocked and then to being angry. And now I'm like, no, this is actually a beautiful moment to like share with someone and not get into a fight, or not like have them make me cry, but just like, I'm gonna hopefully teach you to be more mindful about people. And I'm gonna use this as a time to like exercise my, open the doors to a healthy conversation, and hopefully they take something away from it. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, years ago, probably 10 years ago, I would get so frustrated and I would get so snarky with people. And I had a friend, and I'm curious if you ever had this happen to you. She was trying really hard to talk me into juicing because she was convinced that
It
all I
would
had to
solve
do,
everything.
yes, all I had to juice with her for a week, every meal, all day long, juice with her. And by the end of the week, all my inflammation was going to go away and I was going to feel great. So have you
Mhm.
had people like that in your life, and how did you deal with them?
Oh yeah, I mean, I still do. It's like, oh, have you tried hot yoga? Have you tried the carnivore diet? Have you tried, like, always? And what I have to remember is that it really could work for someone. Like the carnivore diet could have really cured you, and I'm so happy that it did. but just because it worked for you does not mean it maybe will work for me. And I kind of just say, like, yeah, I've tried everything under the sun. Like, I kind of just try to shut it down because I don't really want to get into it, and I don't think they realize the severity of it. And so, yeah, I definitely have had so many suggestions and trends of things I should try, and I'm just like, yeah, I wish it was that simple.
I wish it was that simple. And, there's things that we can do that might make our pain a little less or just help with some of our symptoms. And I do like doing yoga. That helps loosen me up and it feels good, but that is not going to cure me.
Right.
And, I think when we've all dealt with this, we try all the things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Try everything, especially when you're in a flare or something, like,
because we're desperate.
As a kid, my mom would try the weirdest stuff, like, just because she just didn't know what else to do. And so, yeah, when desperate times call for desperate measures.
Absolutely. The more desperate we are, the more crazy of the things we're willing to try.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, what advice do you have for others who are struggling to advocate for themselves in the healthcare system?
Well, I think it's important to really have your priorities of what you want either, like, written down or well rehearsed, especially like before you're going into a doctor appointment. I always write some sort of checklist of the points I want to cover or things I want to try or questions that I may have. And because when you're in there and you're in the moment, it's so easy to forget, or you get on a tangent with your doctor or they try to lead you astray. And so if you just always have something that you're like, no, I really, really want to talk about this, and I'm not going to move on to my next point until I get some sort of answer, or yes, okay, let's test you for that, or yeah, let's try this, and then I'll move on to my next point. Because I think it's easy sometimes for doctors to almost silence you, and it's not because they're trying to. They probably don't even realize it, but they have the next patient to get to, and so it's really easy to get your 20 minutes or 30-minute time just goes by, and you leave and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't ask what I wanted to ask. I didn't get out of that what I wanted to. So I think it's really important to go into every appointment with really clear things that you want out of it, whether it's tests you want done or a new medication or whatever it might be. I also think it's really, really beneficial to have someone go with you, whether that's a partner or a family member. My mom has literally been through everything with me since I was a kid, so she knows it just as well as I do. And so I still find myself, like, sometimes I'll get emotional when things are told to me, or if things are bad, like I have, brain fog. And so it's kind of helpful to have her or someone like her to keep me on track of, like, hey, remember what you wanted to talk about next? Or, not only is she there for moral support, but she's also very encouraging and, like, gets me to the next point that I have or that I need to go over. So yeah, I think have an advocate for you as well is really important. Yes, you want to advocate for yourself, but you yourself need an advocate too, because it's hard and it's easy to forget what you need or what you want. And so I always stand by those two things. Is like, have a clear list or something of what I want, and then if I can, if someone's able to, have someone go with you just to keep the ball in motion, basically, if that makes sense.
Yes, and those are really important to think about, because you never know, like you said, you never know if you're going to have that brain fog moment, or maybe you're caught off guard by something they're telling you.
Yeah.
What if you walk in one day and they're saying, oh, you've got a lot of inflammation in that knee, let's drain that today. You might have,
like, wait a minute, I wasn't ready for that. Yeah,
exactly. And then you had 5 other things you wanted to talk about, and now it's like,
it gets derailed. Yeah,
exactly. So speaking of that, have you ever had to have anything drained?
Oh yeah, I actually, several times, but one of them was so strange. I got put on Accutane for my skin, and Accutane can cause joint pain. It caused an entire joint flare. My knee blew up in like less than a week. It was crazy how fast it reacted. And yeah, I had to get it drained, and I think they've also tried to drain my ankles at times, but those are really hard joints to drain, so that was really unsuccessful. But yeah, I've had a couple knees drained in my lifetime, unfortunately. Have you?
Not yet. I've had lots of injections, but that's about it. Well, I had surgery, but I don't think that was necessarily because of my RA. I shredded my bicep somehow.
Oh gosh.
And then I had some what are they called? Bone spurs in my shoulder. Mm-hmm. And what was the other thing? Oh, an impingement. And so I had to have shoulder surgery just over a year ago.
Oh my gosh.
So that was probably the worst thing I've had to deal with, but I don't think it was related to my RA. Okay. Maybe my RA made it worse, but shredding my bicep was my own fault.
That's insane. That sounds really painful.
It was when we were getting ready to move. My daughter and I were moving some Rubbermaid containers from our garage, and I was carrying one. I was walking behind her. The lid detached from the container and fell. And when it fell, I tripped. And of course, I went tumbling over it, and I was trying to catch myself on the cement, and I put both my hands out, and something felt really awful all through here.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh.
And I just thought, like I don't know, like I just angered it. Yeah, I landed funny, like I just angered it. I hurt myself all the time. I'm used to it. My daughter thought the same thing. And it was not until 6 months later that I found out that it was no longer attached. Actually.
Oh my gosh. That's terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty awful. I don't recommend it.
Knock on wood, never again.
I almost feel like if we trip, we need to just learn how to roll.
Yeah, we just need bubble wrap all over us at all times. How about that?
Pretty much. That's probably safer. I don't know about you, but I wake up with random bruises every single day, and I have no idea how I get any of them.
The other day, and I'm like, what? This doesn't even make any sense. It's not even in a place that would get hit by something. It's like my thigh. It's so weird.
Yeah. Doorknobs are too high. Like, what did I run into?
It's not our fault.
It's just a thing. All right. What do you stay... Okay, let's backtrack. I don't know what I'm saying. How do you stay motivated and maintain a positive mindset despite the ongoing challenges of living with chronic illness?
How do I stay
motivated?
Positive and motivated. Yeah, I think it really depends on where I am in my pain. It's obviously really quite hard to stay motivated when you wake up every day and everything hurts and you don't want to work out or, cook a healthy breakfast, or you just kind of feel down. Those days, I really just try to surround myself with friends and family, or just have things that make me feel good, whether that's like books or food or movies, or just things that I look forward to doing something to get me there at the end of the day. Like, oh, I know that at the end of the day, I'm going to go have an ice cream or something. Like something small. I think those get me through really tough times. But times where I'm feeling no pain, I'm just thankful that I'm able to make it to my Pilates class, or I'm able to go to work or see my friends or get in the car and go somewhere, because there has been so many times in my life where I can't even shower by myself, or I've had to be completely dependent on my family. So, on days that I'm feeling lazy, but it's not because I'm in pain, I'm just feeling lazy. I'm like, no, you're so lucky to be able to go on a walk or go on a hike or something. Like, go do it. And I think that keeps me going, just knowing that there's been times that have been so low. So I'm so thankful for the times that I'm well enough and have the energy. I think also on bad days, I really like the saying, like, it's just a bad day, not a bad life. Because I think when you're in it, it feels never ending, and the pain's never going to go away. It's never going to get better. And that's just not true. It will come around. It might take a long time. But I think just reminding myself, like, this is just temporary, just trying to keep as positive of a mindset as possible, which is hard. And I've said to other people, sometimes I think I'm more positive for other people than I am myself. Like, I want to give so much hope to other people that when I'm down in the dumps, it's like, no, you need to live by what you tell everyone else. So it's not perfect. I have really bad days. But I just try to stay positive and surround myself with happy things and people that love me.
And I think you do a really good job of that. I really do.
I think so. I think I'm so thankful for my friends and my family. I think it's taken time to find the ones that are so understanding and check in on me, and I'm very, very grateful for the people that are around me.
Absolutely. Now, I know we talked about this back in Denver, but I think this is another important topic to bring up. Experiences with prednisone.
Gosh. The worst.
It is the worst.
Yeah. I was on prednisone in my freshman year of high school, and my high school freshman photo, I just can't stand it because I just don't even look like myself. I just have this ridiculous moon face, and I hate prednisone. I hate the way it makes you feel. Can't sleep. You just don't feel or look like yourself. Thankfully, I haven't. I was on it recently because I had COVID and I could not get rid of the dang cough, and I was having all this chest thing going on, so I was on a really short burst of it. And even then, for that week, I could not sleep. It affects you so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I avoid it at all costs if I can.
I'm right there with you because I know there's absolutely benefits of it, but it says in my chart that I refuse to take it because I refuse to take it.
Oh, do you really now?
Mm-hmm. Because the last time I was on it, I gained 40 pounds. I was on it for quite a while to pull me out of a deep, deep flare because it was early on in my journey, and I'm sure I needed it, but I feel like I'm pretty okay enough, well controlled now that it's I'm still trying to lose some of the weight that you caused for me to gain. So no, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, which is just another thing that you're it's not even like I'm a normal person and can run 5 miles a day to burn this all off. My body is not made for activities like that. And so it's just this never ending rut of, I totally get it. It's the worst.
It's a roller coaster. It really is. We have our good days, our bad days, and then we have the side effects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, side effects can be really brutal.
What do you feel has been your worst side effect?
I mean, when I was younger, I said earlier, I don't remember much of the pain. I do remember just always having stomach problems and nausea with the methotrexate. I'm pretty sure that it was. Yeah, and then finding medication to counteract the side effects, and it's just oh my gosh, now I'm on all this medication to counteract side effects for this one drug, but now I'm on 5. Yeah, stomach problems when I was younger. I've also had really bad headaches. I know you have migraines as well.
Mm-hmm.
Migraines more so now that I've been older, but those can be absolutely debilitating, and those are really tough for me. I'm not if I have a headache, just don't even bother speaking to me because I just can't. I can't focus. I can't function. I think nausea is just the worst. Nausea, stomach, and head, I think have been the worst.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, that is the side effect. And some of them, they go away over time, but then some of them not so much. And like you said, you have to take something else to combat that, and that's not fun either. So.
Yeah, I think, and then weight gain too. I mean, especially my age, I'm so hard on myself, and I just, even though I know it's not my fault, it's just still hard to look at other people, and I'm just so, I compare, and it's an awful mind game I play with myself. But
yeah, it's a no-win situation because you can't help but look at other people going, oh, they have it so easy.
Yeah.
Why can't I just do things the way they do things?
Right.
And it sucks because our bodies are just different.
And I've literally even gone as far as why can't I just be on a medicine that the side effect is weight loss?
That'd be great. That would be great.
Why is it always the opposite? I'm never on something that's may cause weight loss. It's may cause 20 to 30 pound weight gain,
It's like, thank you. Thank you so much for that. So looking ahead, what are your hopes and your goals for your advocacy and for your life in general?
Yeah. Like I said, I kind of just started getting back into the whole advocacy thing probably in the last couple of years. And I've so enjoyed it. And I've met really great, like, lifelong friends in person and online all over the world, like, which is crazy. So I think being able to go to more events, whether it's for specifically arthritis-based things or just chronic illness advocacy, invisible. I'm super passionate about, like, spreading the word of invisible diseases because I just think it's, like, really, even now, just not talked about enough. So continuing my online, posting and trying to reach people that way, some in-person things. Also, like, so I act, yes, but I went to school for writing, and I'm writing a novel, and the lead character has so I would love to talk about the future. Like, I've always wanted to be like a published author, and so I think being able to obviously live my dream of being an author, but also talk about something so important to me and put it in, like, the way I would want to have read it if I was, the reader. Because I think so many books with ill protagonists are so, like, down, and it's like the whole book is about their journey with the diagnosis, or, it's like trying to overcome the diagnosis, where I want this character that I'm writing, like, she kind of the same thing, as, like, had it for a really long time, so it's a part of her, and it's like maybe half of the book is about the disease, the other half is something else, because that's the reality, it is a part of you, and there's going to be parts of your life that it's going to consume the whole dang thing. But other times, I have friends, and it takes months for them to ever even know that I'm sick, or, and they're like, what? I didn't know this. Like, you never talk about it. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm doing well now, so there's really no reason to bring it up. So yeah, that's a goal, like a goal I have for the next, like, year or two. I'd love to be able to get that out there.
I love it, and I want to read it as soon as it's out.
Yes, well, maybe you could be one of my beta readers, because I'm going to need people that are, like, familiar with RA, and see if I'm doing a good job of, like, explaining it to someone that may have never heard of it. Because I don't want this book to only be for people that live with the disease. I want it to reach other people so that they're familiar with it now too.
I love it. I got you.
Yay.
Anytime you need me, as long as I get a signed copy too.
Thank you, of course.
All right, so we have talked about so many things. Is there anything we haven't covered that you think you need to mention before we go?
I just want to encourage people to reach out, like, on social media or in your workplace, and you just feel uncomfortable needing that extra help because you're worried of what their reaction might be, or the way that, you're not sure how to navigate the conversation. You're really never going to know unless you ask. So whether you're just asking to have, like, a pen pal to just share stories with online and check in with, hey, how are you feeling today? Be the first person to message that creator or that person. Like, be that person for yourself. And in the workplace, if you need help, don't be afraid. And yeah, it might not go well. Like, I've had a lot of times where I ask for things and it doesn't go very well. And, like, I've left schools over it. I've left workplaces because of it. But there are going to be the people that are super understanding, and they're like, oh my gosh, of course. Like, I'm so glad that you asked, because yes, there is a solution I have for you. So it can be scary, and, like, the confidence comes with time, definitely. I mean, I still am, learning myself, but you're never going to know unless you ask, or unless you put it out there to the universe, or to whatever. But yeah, I think just, what do you have to lose,
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
It was such a pleasure having you on. As usual, my Spoonie sisters, until next time, don't forget your spoon. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. The information should not be taken as a replacement for medical, clinical, professional advice, diagnoses, or medical intervention. My Spoonie sisters and guests will not be held liable for any of the consequences of such action or inaction. Trigger warning. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics including, but not limited to, suicide, abuse, mental illness, and chronic disease. You are advised to refrain from listening if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. None of the guests or hosts will be responsible for your use of the information contained therein. Life is not merely to be alive, but to be well. Living a life with a chronic illness is best described with one word: unpredictable. Be Well's products are designed to make the unpredictable easier to deal with. Back when I was getting my infusions, I would have loved to have their adult zip hoodie. They even have one in pink. They also have everything from one-day pill holders to urgency buckets. So remember, they want to make your life a little easier. So be sure to check out Be Well.